Here in Madeira Beach, I was able to get a full tour of the Church by the Sea, aka the Chicken Church. The church had a definitive 4-foot watermark inside and out. The carpet had already been ripped out of the sanctuary, and when I was there, they were in the process of sorting out what they could salvage and what needed to be thrown away. Meet Charlene, the lead pastor's wife.
Is this the worst storm damage that you've ever seen?
100% in the history of forever. We've never had a storm surge like this here. I'm a native Floridian. We've lived here 27 years and never, in this area, 27 years, but I'm born and raised in Florida. We've never had storm surge like this, and everybody is saying that. Just shocked at the devastation that the storm surge brought. And this is the second deadliest storm to hit U.S. soil in the last 50 years, Katrina being number one.
And you were talking about how since the hurricane was not forecasted to hit the Sun Coast, there were a lot of people who didn't think that it was going to be what it was, the storm surge.
Yeah,
so
correct.
There's a lot of people who didn't evacuate.
Correct. Even though we had the warnings and were told to evacuate, the storm was 120 miles offshore from where we are. And it was supposed to hit at low tide, which is in our favor. And so many people really didn't heed the warning to evacuate, sadly. And many risked their lives, many lost their lives. We've had 11 deaths here on this beach, found another body sadly yesterday. And so they're continuing to do search and recovery.
When were you were not on the island when it happened, but you were on the island before. You were preparing stuff for this church, right?
So my husband and I came Thursday afternoon around 5 o'clock. We just wanted to do one more walk around the church to pray and just to make sure everything's secure. We put up our storm barriers on Wednesday. Everything was in place. We did everything that, we were able to do humanly possible. And then we parked here in the church parking lot and walked across the street to the beach just to take a look at the waves. And even then, the ocean was so angry and the waves were so high and the water was already so close. And that was at low tide. And so we went back home and just waited out the storm. And we were not allowed back on this barrier island until Saturday afternoon. And when we came back Saturday, it was devastating to see the damage all along the Gulf beaches. And when we opened up the doors and saw the church and the cushions of the pew cushions floating, it just grabs your heart. It takes your breath away. And we could just picture the people, like who sits where, and you just see their beautiful faces everywhere, and you're worried about them and hoping that they weathered it okay and in a safe way. And I was just paralyzed at the beauty of the stained glass windows, and especially our Jesus stained glass window. None of our historic stained glass windows were broken. They were all protected. Our Jesus statue here in the garden was unharmed. Our cross on the wall outside was unharmed. And, it just reminds me, I think of, Christ is our firm foundation. Storms of life are going to come. It's guaranteed. And the storms look different for all of us. But Christ is our firm foundation, and we're safe with him. And so we have been saying, and we truly believe that God's word is true and it's trusted and God is faithful. And we know that we're going to see the goodness of God in this. We're already hearing stories. This rescue story right here, this changed this man's life. It changed 2 men's life. And they know that the Lord is calling them back home to him. And, we praise God for that. But we're going to hear many more stories of life change. And, it says in scripture that, when the storm waters come, that will not drown. And when the fires come, will not be burned. And we can have peace in the middle of our storm when we are anchored in Christ.
And you guys still don't have electricity here. Is that the case for the whole Madeira Beach community? No electricity anywhere, do you know? Or
Correct. There's no power. There's no water. They're still doing recovery work and clean out work. They're clearing out the roads, removing the toxic sand, contaminated sand, and I'm not sure when they'll start turning on power, but when they do, the Sheriff Gualtieri was actually here yesterday saying that when they begin turning on power, they're going to have the firemen stand by because they expect fires because salt water and electricity don't mix well.
Right. And the storm, it happened on Thursday, September 26th. Right now it's October 2nd, which is the next Wednesday, so it's 6 days after the storm.
Tomorrow will be 1 week.
No water, no electricity. This community in particular, Madeira Beach, got hit really bad. A lot of the other communities, they have electricity now, but not Madeira Beach.
Up and down our island here, Treasure Island, Reddington, there's no power. And they're working toward that, but there's many steps to take before they turn on the power. So we're closed here at church indefinitely, but we're meeting off campus this Saturday. And so we're going to be a mobile church, and we're still a family. And we're just going to learn how to do church a little bit differently while we do our remediation and restoration work. So
I'm sure you guys as a church, with you being the wife of the pastor, that you guys are helping people as much as you can, the members of your church and the community in general. Are there things that you've done so far to this point that you've been able to help the community?
We've tried to visit some people, pray with them, bring food. We've done a lot of laundry. I've spent hours at laundromats, washing clothes. I've done them at my home just to help people have clean clothes to wear, help them salvage some things. And, so many people are displaced. Some people don't have their phones, and people don't have cars because their cars flooded out. And so we thank the Lord for social media because we're trying to make contact with different people. But we have a webpage set up exclusively for our church families to post their needs that they have. And so we're trying to step in and meet those needs. But we've been cleaning out houses, providing bags, things like that. That right now, the phase we're in is everybody is just going through their stuff, trying to pick through their home and what they can save and what they know they have to discard. And so it's very hard. It's very, very emotional because it's not just stuff. It's memories. It's their life story. It's their babies' pictures. It's their family heirlooms and mementos and things that were gifted to them. And so it's just really, really emotional to just see your stuff in a big pile, and there it sits.
All right, so you were talking about the historic church building that you have here and the architecture to it and why it's so special. Talk about the building.
So it's a Spanish-style building, but when this church was built, it was actually built by the founding members, and the founding pastor built our lights that are hanging. He built our altar that we have. He was a craftsman. It was amazing, amazing talent. But this church was formed to reach the fishermen in our community. Madeira Beach is a fisherman community. That's what we're known for. And so we continue 80 years later ministering to our fishermen in our area. We love them. And our steeple was at one point the highest point on the whole Gulf beaches here, if you can imagine that. And it's not that tall, but it was the tallest point here along the Gulf beaches. But the story was that when these new fishermen would leave from John's Pass, they would say to them, look for the house of God and you'll find your way home. And that's how they would find their way home when they were coming back from sea. And so that's still so special. And so I think that God is still calling us to look for him, and we'll find our way home.
Someone who found their way home on the evening of the storm was Robert Croft. Croft was helping one of his friends who lived on the island prepare for the storm surge, but he wasn't able to make it off in time. Initially, Robert wasn't sure about being in the video, understandably so, since the storm has taken such an emotional toll on him. With a change of mind, Robert gave me this footage that he recorded while being trapped in his truck on Gulf Boulevard leading up to the peak of the storm surge.
This is crazy. It's hard to see, but There's a river, it looks like a river that was coming out before. I can show you a video. It's hard to see, but there's like, it's getting so, it has so much of a current that it's pulling me towards it. And it's slapping all these waves into the front of the truck and moving the truck closer to it with the wind going the opposite way. It's nuts, bro.
Robert drives an older truck where the driver's side window wouldn't roll down. Somehow, though, on the evening of Helene's record-breaking storm surge, his window rolled down and he was able to escape. He explained the scene as being a giant whirlpool that covered Gulf Boulevard and the parking lot. During this time, his biggest fear was being carried out into the Gulf through a current, so his instinct told him to grab onto things so that he didn't get carried out into the ocean. Charlene explains more.
So the story is, there was a gentleman that was driving down Gulf Boulevard. He had just finished doing some work at some properties that he takes care of for his clients. And he thought he could get back off the island. And what happened was the storm surge came and lifted his truck up and started carrying his truck. And it started to turn on him, and he was able to climb out the passenger side window. And when he did, the storm surge carried him to the church here, to one of our walkways. And he was hanging on to the roof. But when he was floating toward our courtyard, we have this courtyard here called the Garden of the Good Shepherd. And it's a very peaceful place, and we have benches where you can sit, and there's a marble statue of Jesus with the lamb over his shoulders that he's carrying. And that is what this gentleman saw when he was floating in water way above his head. And he said it was like a beacon of light, that was literally the only thing that he could see. And he kept his eyes on it and kept trying to get over there, but the currents were so strong, it kept moving him away. But he was able to grab hold of our roof and soffit and hang on until he couldn't hang on anymore. And then the surge drifted him to the back of our building where we have a canal, more water, and he was floating. He grabbed hold of a fence and was holding on to that, and something broke off in the water. He was able to use it somehow to hoist it up between the tie lines on this 50-foot yacht. Miraculously, after many, many struggles, he was able to get aboard this yacht, and he tried unsuccessfully 4 times to open the doors of this boat to see if there was anybody inside, and he couldn't open it. Miraculously, the door opened on its own. There was nobody in there. He was able to get inside and go down into the hull and sleep, and he was safe, and he was cold and shivering. And later, Friday morning around 5 a.m., a neighbor that lives here by the church launched his boat off-site, came back to check on his property, and saw this gentleman sitting on top of his boat, and they rescued him. And when he climbed into their boat, he said, "Jesus saved me." And both of those men are changed for life.
The audio's not great, the video quality isn't the best, but here are the clips that I have of Robert talking about his story.
Over here, shining a Q-beam, and I kept trying to, I spanned across there. I was a little thing there. I hope I did not. No, I don't think I did, but I get over there to try to flag him, and I pulled myself in. And then after that, it was just whether I was going to be able to get in the boat or not. I tried to get in, so I laid on the deck, holding onto the cleat for probably a half hour. That's all I could see. That's all I could see when I was over at the other house with the red light flashing. That's all I could see is all the disciples and everybody.
When I was here, there was an entire crew that was hard at work in cleaning up the place. Charlene continued to show me the destruction to not only the church property, but also to the neighborhood surrounding the church.
So this is our thrift store, and we are open 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, serving our community. We give out clothing vouchers to anyone who needs it. We have a lot of fishermen that come in and need clothes or shoes or sheets when they go out on the boat. And so we give them whatever they need, backpacks, anything. Of course, we always give them food bags, toiletry items, toothbrush, toothpaste, and we just serve our community here through our thrift store. But these are the front doors that we're standing in, and this side is all household, housewares, and over here where they're cleaning out was our boutique side where we had all of our clothes, purses, shoes, men's and women's items. And these windows you can see here busted out from the storm surge. Blew a hole in the wall over there. And we had about 4 to 5 feet of water in here. It was like a swimming pool. This is our dressing room. And back here is the workroom for the boutique side. This is our calendar where the volunteers sign up. But we have here, God be with us. And we believe that he truly was with us in this storm, as he promises to be with us in any storm. But you can see the water line here, how high it was. It was higher in here, actually. So we're standing in the back of our thrift store. This is our grassy lot here between our church and Candy Kitchen. And over here you can see the area where there was a structure. And I want to show you where Helene moved her. Over here to the right was a concrete wall that we actually just had redone last year, completely demolished. And you're standing here where our big shed was, our big storage shed. We put extra things in there, things that we were donating, seasonal items. There's just a storage shed for, whatever. But over here, this is where the storage shed is. The white building is our storage shed. So that storm surge picked it up and put it in the water. This mobile mini unit came from across the street over here on Gulf Boulevard. So it traveled all the way here. Here's a car in the water that nosedived. There's no one in it. It was a local resident, and that was his car that was here in this parking lot. But there it sits in the water. And there's so much debris here. One of the things that we're looking for is our thrift store. We had out front a really big blue donation bin, and you could make donations 24/7, and people did all the time. It was always full, and we just got so excited because without donations, we don't have a thrift store. But the storm surge carried it away, and we literally have no idea where it is. This water out here is really not that deep, but we are looking for the big blue bin. So if anybody sees it, bring it back. You guys, okay, oh my gosh, guess what just happened? This is another one of those goodness of God's. This gentleman, I've never met you. What's your name?
My name's Mike.
Mike, he just walked up and said, are you with the church? And we're like, yes, why? And look what he has in the back of his truck. Our big blue bin for the thrift store. We've been looking for it. We had no idea where it would be. And it floated 3 blocks up. Was it in your yard?
It took a right.
Pulled
into our yard.
Okay, so it went north on Gulf Boulevard, hooked a right at Sweet Brunette, and ended up in your neighborhood in your front yard. Yeah. How did you know it was ours? Have you donated here?
Donated. We understood.
You know how important it is. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go look at it. Come on. This is so exciting. I'm so happy. Look, and it matches your truck.
Same blue color.
Yes. So this is our thrift store bin. This is what we call the big blue bin. We keep that over there right outside the door, and people can donate 24/7 in it, and it's like in perfect shape. Oh, it took a ride. Thank you for bringing her back home. Oh my goodness. This is like the Lord is restoring piece by piece, honestly. I'm so happy.
Next, we took a walk down Gulf Boulevard to see some more destruction, while Charlene told me about the businesses that we were passing.
The next place I'm going to take you is Candy Kitchen. This place is an iconic place here on Madeira Beach. When you think of Madeira Beach, you think Candy Kitchen. So many people have been here through the years. It's been here since 1950, and Matt is the newest owner of it and just does such a great job. There is often, always a line going past here for people waiting to get in to get their ice cream. They do homemade fudge, the best ice cream, milkshakes. They have iconic candy. And it's very sad to look here at these ice cream containers because we know the delicious stuff that was in there. But he gutted his place because he also had storm surge. It ripped the door off the hinges. And this is what was left behind, the sweet teddy bear. And I love especially that he says, we love Madeira, we will come back. I love that we're gonna reopen.
Yeah,
I told him yesterday, Madeira Beach wouldn't be the same without Candy Kitchen.
A lot of places are announcing that they're not going to be reopening, yeah.
Yeah, Matt says he is, and so we believe it, but windows were blown out. This building here, the storm surge inverted the whole front wall, doors and everything. And we can walk on down here. Further up, just one block up from us is Sweet Brunette. These are friends of ours from our church that lived here that lost everything. But at Church by the Sea, we love Sweet Brunette, and we often walk up here to eat their chicken and biscuits, or chicken and waffles, rather. So delicious. And hi, guys. And they also suffered catastrophic loss. Gulf Boulevard was just covered with sand, and different areas along the beach, you can see the mounds piled high. But to show you the force of the storm surge, also look down here where it created, a huge hole. These buildings are condemned. They're off their foundation. So those are gonna have to be torn down, I'm sure. Somebody's sewing machine. But these cars here, somebody didn't get a new door put in yet. But this car went through the storm. This one's twisted up between the palm trees. You know? It's just, you can't believe all the destruction. These are our friends, you know? I just heard yesterday on the news that Helene is the second worst storm in U.S. history to hit the mainland in 50 years. Number one is Katrina, so that helps put it in perspective. We've never seen anything like this here. I'm a native Floridian. I've been through hurricanes. We've never been through anything like this, and we've never had a storm surge like what happened. This is all from the storm surge. It wasn't even a lot of rain, and those sustained winds weren't that terrible either. It was just the storm surge that did all of this damage. But Sweet Brunette is an iconic restaurant here also that the locals love to come and eat and drink coffee. They provide our Sunday morning coffee. We serve coffee every Sunday morning at Church by the Sea, and it's compliments of Sweet Brunette. So these are our friends.
So unfortunate.
It really, really is.
We're nearing the end of this video, but what's really crazy is that I only showed you a handful of communities that were affected by Hurricane Helene, which caused damage to essentially the entire Gulf Coast of Florida, along with places inland that many of you have heard about, with major flooding in Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. What's even more unfortunate is that another blow to this area could be coming. Hurricane Milton is expected to be a Category 3 hurricane, and at the time of me editing this video, it's predicted that the eye of Hurricane Milton will have a strong probability of hitting the Tampa Bay, Bradenton, and Sarasota area on Tuesday night, which is October 8th, 2024, and with it will possibly come a storm surge that will equal Helene's record-breaking surge, or it might be an even greater surge. Well, hey, do me a favor, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as doing those things helps these videos get seen by more people, as the YouTube algorithm will spread it around even more. In the meantime, let's hope that this next blow with Hurricane Milton isn't as bad as the weather forecasters are predicting it to be.